This is a little awkward, but I'm selfishly so glad this real life drama didn't happen to me. Unfortunately, it happened to you guys because these are your stories. At the time of this recording, I'm actually in Italy, so future Joss is gonna pop in and say hi to you guys from Italy. Hi guys, it's future Joss here from Italy. I forgot my sunglasses this morning, so it's a nightmare. I'm at the Pantheon. I was gonna show you guys the Trevi Fountain this morning, but truthfully, I forgot because I'm on 27 hours of being awake. Jet lag is a real thing, but I wanted to say hi from Italy. Look how pretty. Yay. Speaking of your stories, good news. The form is officially going to be reopened with unlimited responses from you guys starting August 28th. And it'll be left up like that for an entire month. Get in all your stories in those 4 weeks, people, because then we're going to have to start easing back on submissions so I can work my way through them, all right? The form is linked in every description of every single video. We have a story from Trina. Girl! I'm so pumped. I'm already excited. When you start a story by girl, this is how I'm picturing it being said, girl. Like, you know, when you call your friend and you're like, girl, you are not gonna believe what just happened. That's the vibe I'm getting. I'm excited. You will not believe the experience I, 21 female, had when I started dating. Needless to say, it definitely was an experience to forget. I matched with this guy on Match. We'll call him Roger, 23 male. After exchanging numbers and getting to know each other, we started going out and everything seemed like we were a great couple. He was always there for me and he always put me first above all else. We took things slow because he came from a background that he had a strained relationship with his family, a red flag that I should have noticed earlier. Anyway, as time went on, Roger wanted to start taking things to the next level. At this point, we had dated for roughly 3 months and we started talking about becoming intimate. I admit I was nervous because it was my first time and I didn't know what to expect. Roger was very comforting and understanding, and after some time talking about it, I felt like it was okay to proceed. I asked Roger if he had brought protection and he said yes. Right before we were about to do it, Roger comes out from the bathroom not wearing protection, but instead, What am I about to read? Y'all aren't ready. Y'all aren't ready. Him not wearing the protection, but a banana peel wrapped around his thingamajig. You read that right. He had a banana peel wrapped around his appendage. Lord, Jesus, universe, whatever I want to pray to, please never put me in that position in this lifetime, because I would not handle that gracefully. Let me tell you. Why do you have that on you? I asked him. I use banana peels because they feel better and I love the smell. I don't even know scientifically how that process would work. Not that I even want to, and I truly don't even want to picture it, but I'm thinking about it. Needless to say, hearing those words was disgusting. There was no way I was letting Roger stick that banana peel inside me. I asked if he would just wear a normal rubber instead, but he refused. If I didn't think he was a little cuckoo bonkers, what he said next was absolutely crazy. Girl, this story goes beyond cuckoo bonkers. I got concerns. All right, quote from Cuckoo Bonkers Man. Banana peels are my protection and you'll love it because it'll ripen your like a flower. If Matt and I don't work out, you guys cannot let me ever date again, all right? Support me in being single till the day I die, because I am not going through the dating scene. I was so disgusted that I almost threw up, and I immediately jumped up and ran out of the bedroom. I told Roger that it was over because I can't deal with the banana peels. He tried to convince me to stay, but I was not going to after discovering this new banana peel kink. I understand some people like to incorporate some things into their intimate relationships, but for me, food and bodily fluids do not go together at all. I broke up with Roger and haven't been on a date since then. To this day, no one knows that story but me because I'm too embarrassed to say anything to anyone I know. I believe I'm the only person that has ever dumped a guy because he used banana peels to have sex. I wish I could say I was kidding. Thank you so much for sharing that story on here. Guys, just when I think we are close friends, we just keep getting closer. Let me tell ya. Let's not forget that one dating story with the poo. And if you know, you know, and if you don't, count your blessings, to be honest, that you missed that video. There's a part of me that's a little bit mad after reading this story because bananas are one of my favorite fruits, and I love bananas, and I'm never going to look at a banana the same ever again. Ever again. I'm gonna see a banana peel, and what do you think is gonna go through my mind? And probably yours now too. Next story is coming in from Elise. For people's privacy, I will be using fake names, but I don't mind using my real name. My name is Elise, 38 female. This story below happened in May of 2007. Context. I am a lesbian. I came out on my birthday in July 2007, the 20th. So let's just say that in May 2007, I was an emotional wreck with internal turmoil. I also stopped taking ADHD meds 2 years prior to this event since they were making me feel like a zombie. So let's recap. A 19-year-old closeted lesbian, neurodivergent without medication. I was in love with a straight friend of my friend group, but didn't tell anyone back then. It was a recipe for disaster. I was immature and would often act on impulse and think of consequences later. Don't we all at 19? Back to the story. I was in college with 2 girls from my friend group, all friends since high school. Claire, 19 female, and Laura, 18 female. We bought tickets to go see Fall Out Boy to celebrate the end of our semester. Fun fact, I saw the Fall Out Boys in Detroit way back when I was in high school also. The friend I was in love with, Karen, 18 female, couldn't attend. I told myself that I would buy her a t-shirt as a gift since she loved the band and was sad to miss it. I drove from our small city to downtown Montreal. I asked Claire and Laura if they could each pitch in $5 for gas and the parking fee at the venue. I paid for the parking and I fueled the tank. Once we got to the venue, I immediately saw a beautiful t-shirt that Karen would love. It was $35, and without thinking, I bought it. For context, the stress I was under, my inner turmoil, made me literally sick, and I had issues with my digestive system, and I was prescribed a pill to help. Then my stupid ass realized I didn't have enough money to buy any food. I needed to take the pill, but I couldn't do it on an empty stomach. We were 2 hours into the show and I was starting to feel hungry and dizzy. I eventually told my friends about the situation. Claire told me she already pitched in for gas and parking. That money was already spent for those, so I didn't have it. Laura told me, those concessions overcharge you. I won't pay for that. I told her that just $5 would help me because I need to take some meds. Claire said, I only have a 20. I don't want to break a 20 for that. I said I would pay her back the next day. Laura then said, how? You don't have a job. I was living with my parents. My parents valued education so much and they both had high-paying jobs, so they agreed to help me financially while I was studying. I said I would be able to get it. Laura said, aren't you ashamed of asking your parents for money and not getting a job? I was flabbergasted because I didn't feel like it was the time to lecture me on something while I was feeling unwell. I know they thought I was stupid for buying the t-shirt and then realized I didn't have more cash. I shouldn't have bought it, but it was already done. Both Claire and Laura continued to lecture me on getting a job and not being dependable on my parents. I reached my breaking point. On the verge of tears, I left my seat and I called my mother. She was furious at me for not managing my money correctly, but more furious at my friends that she has known since we were 13 for refusing to help. She told me she would pay them back the next day, and she was livid when I explained that they refused that option and lectured me instead. My poor mother had to drive all the way downtown to help me. I don't blame her for being pissed at all. But she told me, you are not staying friends with these girls. They aren't your friends. You are not driving them back home after the concert. The show allowed me to go in and out, so with the money that my mom gave me, I was able to get a very reasonable meal at the Tim Hortons in front of the venue. I went back to watch the show, but standing up somewhere as I couldn't sit back with them. I was pissed at them. Here is why I could easily be considered an a-hole. When the show finished, I turned off my phone and went home. Oh boy. I find it weird that Laura had a $20 bill but refused to help me even though she would get the money back the next day. I find it even more weird that Laura tried to guilt trip me the next day by saying Claire's dad had to drive all the way downtown to pick them up and he wasn't happy. My mom wasn't either, but was afraid of bad repercussions if I missed a dose of the pill or took it on an empty stomach, so she drove all the way downtown too. Oh, and the public transport fee was $3 and would have brought them into our city in 20 to 30 minutes. Why didn't Laura pay $6 for her and Claire instead of having to annoy Claire's dad? Anyway, the next day Claire came to my house to see if I was okay. I was barely waking up and I heard my mom answer the door and say, "No, you are not welcome here." Claire and I eventually came around. We run into each other every now and then, but we aren't close friends. As for Laura, I ran into her since then and I was very cold with her and she acted like nothing happened, so I am glad that she's out of my life. Was I the a-hole? I know I probably am partly an a-hole, but I wanted your opinion. I don't think I'd go as far as saying a-hole. I think this whole thing was could have been handled better from everybody. I think you learned your lesson that we don't buy the t-shirt before we make sure we have enough money for food with your condition and your medication. Of course, in hindsight, you learn that. However, I would have never let my friends go through that, especially if I had the money in my hand, like a $20 bill. Of course, if my friend is sick and ill, I'm gonna say, take it. Are you kidding me? My priority would have been to find my friend some food so she would feel better. But turning your phone off and leaving them at the end of the concert, some may consider you an a-hole. I would just say it could have been handled better. For sure, on everyone's side. But you guys, let them know in the comments if you think that she is the a-hole or partly the a-hole. Whatever you want. I'll see you guys in the comment section though. We'll chat. Next story is coming in from Lisa. So I think I met this guy on OkCupid and it turned out we had a few friends in common. We chatted before deciding to meet randomly one evening after he was on his way home from work. He was a car salesman. It's really, really cold because it's January in Indiana. He was bringing me homemade apple pie moonshine, my fave, that sounds so good, and we were just set to chat for a bit before I had to get some sleep. I am a dental hygienist and we start early in the morning. I greet him at the door and he's not a catfish, looks like his pick, and hands me the sealed glass jar of the moonshine. Hold on! Girl, you had some random ass man rolling up to your house at night before bedtime, giving you a homemade drink? Insane behavior. I'm not gonna judge you, but I'm gonna warn you to never do that again in your lifetime. That could be poison in there. He knows where you live. He knows how you're going to bed soon to sleep. Oh! I'm just worried. I thanked him and he took off his shoes and we chatted for a bit in my kitchen area. I had a very small apartment at the time. Within 10 or so minutes, I noticed this horrible stench and anxiety thought maybe one of my 2 cats had a sudden case of the runs, and I excused myself to check the litter boxes. I even checked my garbage can thinking it was something that had rotted out. Turns out it was his feet. No. I would physically projectile vomit. I don't do feet. Feet are the most disgusting parts of the human body, if I'm being truly honest. I don't know what it is about them. They freak me out. I don't like my own feet. I don't like any feet. I don't like that they're like hands at the bottom of our bodies. And they're all, I don't like it. The thought of feet, man, freaking weird. After that, all I could think about was how I was going to get him the hell out of my apartment so I could fumigate it and breathe normally again. We went to sit on my couch and I made sure to sit on the opposite end with a pillow between us. I slammed my face into the moonshine just so I could smell something else. Anything but this putrid stench taking over my apartment. My cats didn't come out even once. I think they knew. This guy, during the course of our conversation, proceeded to belch in my face twice while he was showing me a funny YouTube video and passed gas. I was mortified. I mean, did he think because we had mutual friends that he could skip ahead to the let's get super comfortable phase? Ugh. I told him I had to call it a night due to my long day ahead at work and I needed to go to sleep. He finally left and I straight up opened my balcony door, and it's freezing outside, so that I could air out my place. I never saw him again, and my friend Tasha, one of our mutual acquaintances, and I had a really good laugh about it afterwards. We still bring it up and it's been 10 years. I am happily living with my husband of 5 years in Texas and didn't meet him on any dating app, LOL. I guess the whole stranger come in your house is a little different because you had mutual friends. However, still terrifying. I don't know what I would have done in that situation. Of course I would have been kind about it, you guys. What are you gonna do? I'm not trying to shame the person. His feet smell bad, he burps, he farts. I burp in front of you guys because we are at the comfortable stage with each other. Some of you hate it, some of you support it. But let me tell you, if I met you in person, I'm not doing that. Actually, maybe I would. With you guys, I probably would. We're all friends here, right? Right. The next story is coming in from Tina. Toxic Twins is the title. Ooh, that's a rough go. You're getting a 2-for-1 deal of toxicity that you probably didn't ask for. When I was in 4th grade, I moved to the other side of town with my mom and my mom's boyfriend. We started attending the local elementary school and I met these 2 girls. I don't want them to find my Reddit and read this, so I'm going to change the names. Susie and Betty attended the same elementary school that I did. We both had special needs. I needed extra resources, so we would dip into another class and then go back to our regular class. Both of the girls were in the same class I was in, so we hit it off pretty well. Elementary school was pretty much a breeze with them. Free transition until middle school, and we still had a good time. The issues really didn't start until I became a freshman in high school. For whatever reason, Susie was not happy with, I guess, the lifestyle we already had, and she kept going on to Betty and I that she was going to be popular. She was going to be on the basketball team. She was going to be on the volleyball team. We heard this a lot at the end of the 8th grade summer. So freshman year comes, we're still friends, we're still having a good time, and we're still enjoying being freshmen. The behavior that I had an issue with started happening roughly at the end of freshman year. I had a mixture of a lot of friends, and they kind of didn't like certain friends that I was friends with, and they would try to hug all of my attention, and it worked for a little while. Their birthday was at the beginning of the month, and mine was at the middle of the month. So my family's birthdays are pretty much a big deal. We celebrate the key milestones and have small parties for the others. So I had a sweet 16. They did not, due to the cost, I believe, but I never rubbed it in their face, but I feel like this is probably where it started. My mom's boyfriend had a lot of money, and we were all well off, and he did take good care of us, so I'm believing that they were jealous that I can go camping and I can have all these small luxurious things. My junior year came around and I had met this girl. Let's call her Chloe. Chloe did not know them. I enjoyed being around Chloe because I felt like she understood me more than Susie and Betty did. I started hanging out with Chloe more, and they started to drift off and become friends with this other girl that I knew from a class that we had too. Susie, Betty, and I talked a lot about senior year. We were excited to do all the senior stuff together, but here we are, senior year. I have spent most of my time with Chloe. One day I started noticing that when I would get a new phone, they would have to go get a new phone that was better than mine. And it started with shoes, then it started with clothes, then Susie wanting to copy everything that I did. Betty at this time, she was in love with her boyfriend and, you know, didn't really care about Susie and I at this point. Susie started to copy my hairstyle. One day I got extensions and I was super excited because that was the style and I wanted to do it for prom, but I wore it to the second semester so that I could get used to them. Apparently, Susie had to have them too. I wanted to get contacts for prom because I didn't want to wear my glasses. I wanted everybody to see my face and to be able to see the beauty of makeup that I had on, and Susie wanted to do the same thing. At this point, we weren't besties anymore. We were just like people that are still at school. The prom came around and I asked my best friend Chloe to go with me and we were super excited. My mom had taken me to this local dress place right around the house and I was looking for this one dress I found and I was so excited. There's no way that Susie and Betty can have a better dress than I did. Apparently, the lady running the store knows about Susie and Betty and says that she has seen them in and they have picked out 2 dresses here. And I asked the lady, "May I see the dresses?" She said yes, due to the fact that they were rude with her and being disgusting to her. Yo, when I tell you these dresses were plain, they were boring. I got my idea from a movie and I was obsessed with that movie for all 4 years of high school. So Chloe and I, we go to the prom. Fun fact, I actually based my prom dress on a dress from a movie. Oh my God, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, you know, the infamous yellow dress. When I saw that dress, I was like, I'm gonna have a yellow dress for my prom. It doesn't look like the one in the movie. I just knew I was gonna have a yellow dress. And so I did. I'll insert a picture. Here's little Joss at her school prom in her yellow dress. We're dancing, having a good time. The icing on the cake for me was leaving and hearing Susie say, "Damn, that girl has the same dress as me." I never wanted to be in competition with them. I like being friends with them and we had some good memories, but I don't know where the competition started and why it became the way that it did. A year after high school, I met this girl and I fell in love with her. Betty and Susie knew that I was a bisexual at this point and I thought they were fine with it until I legit got a girlfriend. They really just didn't want to go on dates with me because I said it wasn't the same. I don't have time for that. I just cut them off completely. Fast forward to 15 years later. I live in a state that is so beautiful. I have the best family ever. I have 2 degrees. Never compete with your friends. Hype them up. Couldn't agree more. I feel like in high school, this is a very common thing with girls. You start to compare yourself. You start to get jealous and compete, and it can get really ugly and really messy. And it's annoying, to be honest. You start copying them. Like if some girl has a certain kind of outfit, you want it. They get the newest cell phone, you want the newest cell phone. Ugh. I do not miss that at all. And sometimes in adulthood, people still try to compete with you. Why are we competing? Let's all just be on the same friggin' team. Damn. On that note, let's hydrate together. Speaking of teammate, you're my hydration buddy. We're teammates. Cheers. Drink your water. I'm a male, 35, and my wife is 28. We've been married for 1 year and together for 8 years. We have 4 kids, great jobs overall, and a good life. For years, I've been telling my wife that I do not want her going to bars without me. She goes out, gets drunk, drives home, and is a mess. She apologizes the next day and promises me that she won't do it again. I do believe that she is faithful. I just have a hard time dealing with her going out to bars and clubs, and I have built a strong resentment towards her. I've told her that it is not okay with me that she goes out like this because she is married, but she does it anyways. I find it disrespectful. Am I an a-hole for wanting to divorce my wife over this? I'm having another conversation with her tomorrow, but it's always the same song and dance and nothing changes. Yikes. I feel like I'm in no position to tell anyone whether they should get a divorce or not, in the sense that that's your relationship, and if you want to keep working on it, that's up to you. However, I feel like if you voice something over and over that makes you uncomfortable, it isn't the lifestyle that you want in your marriage or your household, and they continue doing it and blatantly just ignoring all those conversations you've had with them, that's telling. And if you can't work on it and there is no change made, then I think that's just up to you. That's a very you decision on if that is enough for you to not want that marriage anymore. That's why it's so important to like be on the same page with your lifestyle, with what you want in a marriage. Why do you guys think that we're taking our time over here? Okay, marriage is no joke. I'm trying to get married and stay married. Anyways, why don't I just worry about getting engaged first? The next story is coming in from James. My girlfriend, who I helped raise her kids, cheated on me with several men, including people I thought were my friends. I guess I should start with saying I was very naive to the person I was committed to. I will not use my real name, but give no care about hers. Oh. Brandy and I met at the bar after my roommate begged me to go out with him because he was meeting her friend and didn't want Brandy to be a third wheel. I was in college, recently single, and I didn't mind being his wingman. We all met at the bar and things went great. He convinced her best friend to come to our place and Brandy decided to come. We didn't go all out that night, but while my roommate railed her friend, okay, we made out in my room. The weeks passed and we talked more and more and I started hanging out at her place. We would watch Family Guy and cuddle on the couch after her kids were in bed. She was recently divorced with 2 daughters. She was 4 years older than me, but that never bothered me because I grew up early. A totally different story, but let's just add that I had lost a son at 17 and my then partner was 26. Hold on, that was a lot of information to take in. I was also not living with my parents from 14 to 17, so believe me, I was no fool to life when I finally met Brandy. I was 23 in my second year of college at the time. I was working on myself with the ambition to become a Navy Seabees and later become an architect. After a few intimate nights, she asked if I would like to meet her daughters, which I was more than happy to do. The youngest loved me right off at 4. She was happy to meet mommy's boyfriend. Let's call her Kay. And her oldest daughter, E, was indifferent at first. She still wanted her mom and dad to get back together. I had met him once early on and he said to me, "Good luck with that cheating whore." Red flag number 1 that I disregarded after hearing stories of him. Let's just say their relationship started as teenagers and was nothing but abuse and betrayal from both parties. Anyway, back to the juice. After a few months of seeing each other, I moved in with her. I was still finishing school and she had recently enrolled in some EMT classes. She knew of my plans and basically said if I wanted to stay with her and the girls, that I wasn't going to join the military and I wasn't going to go into outrageous debt to become an architect with the GI Bill, so I agreed I would not go. Mistake 1. For the next 3 years, I became the perfect boyfriend. I raised her girls, who I felt absolutely head over heels for. I still to this day call them my daughters. Now to the crap part of my story. By year 3, I was feeling that she was growing distant in small ways. I was out of school working a crap job and hated everything about myself. I began to drink more and I was depressed, but never outwardly showed it. I was always the happy-go-lucky guy. At this time, she wanted to go out more sometimes with her male friends, which I didn't think much of because she acted a lot like a tomboy and had the same humor as most of the guys, but always came home and cuddled up next to me. There was one time though that left me questioning, and I still don't know, but she went to a bar with a male friend that I didn't really know. I was too trusting and I said that it was fine. This same person was later arrested like a year later for a SA charge. I still wonder to this day if she ever did anything with him. Shortly after this, she was pressuring me to commit to marriage. My dumbass bought a $3,000 ring I couldn't afford with a bank loan. I gave her the ring on Christmas Eve with a small teddy holding it. She cried and hugged me and the girls hugged me. They all told me they loved me, and after a long time, I actually believed it. Great. James, I don't know if you didn't finish your story or not. It feels like we left off with not all the info. I did check the form, cannot find a part 2. to this story, so I'm not sure, but either way, we get the gist. She cheated. She cheated, you raised her girls, you took them in like they were your own, and she still freaking cheated on you. That's rough. That's a rough go. I'm sorry, James, even though that's not your real name. Stay classy out there, stay sassy. I'll see you tomorrow.